you're not sure about all the other guys. So it's just this trickle-down effect. That's why, listen, I know we're looking far down the road next season. Kirk Cousins a free agent. I'm just floating it out there.
No, don't do that. No. I'm not letting you do that.
The 49ers would be Super Bowl favorites if they had Kirk Cousins this season.
Right now.
Book it. Yes.
Super Bowl favorite over the Eagles. No, they wouldn't.
Yes, they would. I absolutely think they would be. If Kirk Cousins was the 49ers quarterback right now, quarterbacking the San Francisco 49ers, they would be Super Bowl favorites.
Over the Eagles.
Yes.
I disagree. Wow.
He starts every single game. He does what you need him to do. He doesn't need to do too much. You have the running game. You'll be fine.
Wouldn't we say
Shanahan trusts him?
Wouldn't we say that like Philadelphia has comparable weapons on both sides of the ball and has a much better quarterback than Kirk Cousins?
Comparable, maybe, but I still see. Listen, it sucks because we don't get to see what happened in that game because they didn't have the quarterback.
I still think
they were sticking around with Josh Johnson way longer than the Eagles fans wanted to admit. Josh Johnson was keeping in that game for a little bit, thanks to Christian McCaffrey obviously getting that touchdown, wheeling and dealing, breaking 50 million tackles. But I'm just telling you, man, Vegas would agree with me. If Kirk Cousins was quarterback in the San Francisco 49ers this season, I think they'd be Super Bowl favorites. 888-957.
Strictly because of him being healthy?
Yes. Also, he's a good quarterback.
He's solid.
Are we acting like he sucks?
Solid.
Okay. Let's get this one thing straight. Kirk Cousins does not stink.
No.
People act like he's a scrub.
He doesn't suck.
He's a multiple-time Pro Bowl quarterback.
Mullins.
He had like 8 game-winning drives last year, comeback victories.
But when you watch him play, I get the same sense from Jimmy Garoppolo. When you watch him play, there are times where he gets peppered and he cowers up. And I get it. I'm not saying that's part of how difficult the position is. There are times where the game is too big for him, and you actually see it play out in real time on the quarterback Netflix stock.
I don't think he'd be asked to do as much as he has in other systems. I think he's an elite thrower of the football, and I think he would just be able to hand it off to Christian McCaffrey, dink and dunk his way down, and be perfect. That's how he stays healthy. That's how he'd be in every game, and he doesn't need to do anything extreme. I just know I have a guy that's going to stay healthy. That's saying a lot.
But isn't there going to be a game down the line? There's going to be a moment, like in the fourth quarter. Great example. Let's go to the Super Bowl that the Niners lost. Okay, fourth quarter. Cousins is winning a leading. Say that out loud. Kirk Cousins is leading a game-winning drive in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs.
I think he could do it.
That did not sound very, very.
I'm just saying.
Confident.
I think against the Chiefs, it's tough, obviously, but why not? I mean, that goes to Kyle Shanahan and his trust in his quarterback, though, right, Joe? If Kyle Shanahan finally trusted this guy in Kirk Cousins, then yes, I'm all for it. He clearly didn't trust Jimmy Garoppolo, Joe. That was the problem.
Well, yes.
He didn't trust him. And also, he got tight. That's another thing with Kyle Shanahan.
Yes.
He gets very tight. Not running with Raheem Mostert when that was working, got away for that for some damn reason, and then he started throwing it. I
think Kirk has more arm talent than Jimmy.
Yes, I do too. Okay. I think fantasy football has shown me that.
But I don't know about and I'm not saying that he's not tough. He's absolutely tough. I think similarly, though, both of them become very predictable and rattled. Okay. I think they're very comparable.
I think Jimmy Garoppolo has been put in great situations because his coaching situation has been awesome. I don't think
we'll see. Yeah,
we'll see with Kirk Cousins, right?
That's a good point.
Who's Kirk had in his career?
Kirk's been quote unquote successful at multiple stops now.
He's had Zimmer, he's had Mike Shanahan, right? Or who was it after Mike? Give me his name. Gruden.
Yes.
So he's had some guys, and he's had success in multiple. And there's something to be said for that. Kevin O'Connell now. So there is something to be said for that. Clark the Shark wants to weigh in from Myrtle Beach. What's up, Clark? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, brothers, God bless. It's good to hear from you. Anyway, we got dueling Joes going on here, huh?
We do.
Where's Bonte?
He's in Hawaii, Clark.
He's out.
He's on the beach like you are.
Yeah, well, we were on the beach yesterday. It was my anniversary, my 10-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
I and the wife.
Nice, congrats.
It was nice. It was nice. But it was a little humid around here. That's one thing. It's not like the Bay Area.
Sticky. Yep.
Anyway, I got 3 points on Brock I'd like to present.
Yes.
Is that I think that we're selling him a little short. Now, I'm a Brock proponent here, but first off, in his college career, he wasn't playing for Oklahoma, which rolls in and just destroys teams. And, to be a great quarterback in Oklahoma isn't the same as being a really good quarterback at Iowa State. Iowa State went in and they got to the bowl games And when Brock left, and they got a good coach there, when Brock left, they went like 1-12 or 1-11, showing how much Brock Purdy meant to that team. So I don't think that.
Well, timeout. They also had Breece Hall. Okay, so they had a number 1 draft pick running back as well. So and he was taken in the 7th round. If he was that great coming out of that conference, he would have been taken in the 4th or 5th or even 3rd or 2nd round. So I'm not trying to diminish what you're saying, but there's some context to why that team took a big nosedive. Breece Hall's a stud.
Okay. Oh. Okay. Well. Okay. Here's the second point.
Okay.
Is that people are saying, well, he's not that big. Wait a second. Montana was like 1 inch taller, but Purdy weighs more. I think he's like 215, 220, and everybody's saying, oh, he's not that mobile. What do you mean? He ran a 1.55 10-yard split. That's as fast as a lot of the D-backs. Now, don't tell me he's not quick enough, and that's exactly what a quarterback needs, is quickness in a short area. Now, come on now. Don't give him his credit.
We are giving him his credit, but he also got hurt with a 6-month sideline arm injury. Yeah. So I think it's fair to be like, damn.
I mean, this was a guy who had limited arm strength, so much so that he came to Mr. Irrelevant. That's why he wasn't ultimately, he can have wins in college, but it's about athletes. Why do you think Anthony Richardson got drafted in the top 5? Wasn't because he won games, Joe Shasky. It's because he has a big arm and he's huge. He can run fast and he can make ridiculous plays like a Patrick Mahomes. That's why. That's why I wouldn't mind drafting a guy like Anthony. And I get it. The Bryce Youngs out of Alabama, intelligence, you can't quantify that. It's important. Tom Brady had the best of both worlds. He was intelligent, not super athletic, but he knew where to slide in the pocket, and he had longevity, and he had underrated arm strength, by the way, Tom Brady. I think we think of him as a guy with a noodle arm. Yeah. That was very strong. Got stronger as he got old. Shout out to the TB12 method. Trying to get on that, the avocado toast, Joe Shasky. But that's something that you have to monitor with Brock Purdy. He is already limited in his arm strength, and he just had surgery on that elbow.
Well, if he had not gotten hurt, let's say even if they get blown out in Philadelphia, I think most normal 49er fans would be like, we got a quarterback for the next decade. Yeah. Right? I think most of us would think that way.
Mark Willard.
And whether that was real or not, that's what we would feel.
Mark Willard was coming on the station last year he's like, man, we got our quarterback. He felt that strongly about it, saying that much so. And then obviously you guys are like, we thought we had our quarterback with Jimmy Garoppolo, right? Things can change, and maybe things have changed already with that injury. But you're right. It's just the hype for Brock Purdy.
An injury just kind of puts a little hole in the balloon. That's all.
It does.
And I think it's fair to question, especially considering this position for this team has been just decimated by injuries.
And I don't want it to get it twisted. We want Brock to succeed. We're not rooting for him to fail, and try to prop up Trey Lance or Sam Darnold. No.
I don't think I've even brought up Trey.
No, you haven't. I want this guy to succeed, though. Yeah, and I think a lot of people are like, oh, you guys are just being haters, stuff like that. No, we're just being a little skeptical, because that's our job to be.
Well, and I was all in.
I'm not going to be ha-ha, roo, rah for this guy all the time. That's not who I am.
I was all in on the Jimmy G experience. I'm all in on the Brock Purdy experience. And if he doesn't pan out, or if one of the other guys steps up, I'll be all in on them. I want the team to win a Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
I mean, Joe, I did this for Colin Kaepernick. I did this for Alex Smith when he first came in. I did it for Garcia. I've done it for Tim Rattay. I've fallen for the banana in the tailpipe as a 49er fan. I will shine up anything. At one point, I might have thought that Ken Dorsey was the dude. All right?
You're talking to a guy whose sports team's best quarterback the last 2 decades was Derek Carr. All right? They had Rich Gannon for a couple seasons. I had Derek Carr, buddy. In between that, I had Jason Campbell, Bruce Gradkowski, J.P. Losman, Charlie Fry. Go down in the
Andrew
list.
Walters.
There you go. And real quick, we have a Twitter poll up right now. Search us on 95.7 The Game Morning Roast, 957. If Kirk Cousins was the 49ers starting quarterback, would they be Super Bowl favorites over the Eagles? 888-957-9570. I say yes. Shasky says no. Gene in Oakland.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Gene in Oakland, what say you? 95.7 The Game.
I don't think so.
Morning, fellas. Definitely no. I don't think Cousins has that championship gene in him. Sorry. I mean, he's looked really good until he gets into the second round of the playoffs, and then he just folds. So no, I'm not a big Kirk Cousins fan. But talking about Purdy, well, let's talk about. Well, first of all, you said some things about Joe Montana, Shasky, that I'd like to address. First of all, he was 1 inch taller than Brock is, 15 pounds lighter, and then he went low in the draft because they thought he first of all, he didn't have a very strong arm, and they thought he would get killed, and he almost did. But the guy went on to have a 15-year career, and as far as I'm concerned, still the best quarterback of all time. So,
Gene, would you also grant me this? Gene, you also grant me this? The league has gotten physically gigantic in the 40 years since he was drafted. Like, I'm not saying that he wasn't big. He was bigger in terms of height, but the league has gotten dramatically more physical.
All right, but let's go back to Brock for a minute, okay? So, as I said before, just look it up. He's the same size as Jalen Hurts. He doesn't have the leg strength, but he's pretty damn solid. And I think he's tough and focused enough. He won me over in the second half of the Washington game last year. Okay, he went up against what was considered the best, or at least one of the 2 or 3 best defensive lines in the game. They gave him a hard time in the first half. He adjusted in the second half, and he beat him solidly. So I think he's got the toughness and the focus, and I think he's underrated and undersized, much as Steph Curry was. I'm not going to say he's going to be the Steph Curry of football, but who knows?
All right.
Let's hope.
Thanks, Gene.
The Cowboy game, oh, man, it was very constipated. He threw for about 200 yards in that game, 19 to 29, no touchdowns, no interceptions, took a couple of sacks. They struggled to move the ball. But I personally think that Cowboy, outside of the Eagles defense, I think the Cowboys was the best defense that they faced all year.
Not even close. Yes, absolutely. And the pressure got in his face, and I don't want to say rattled, but he threw some balls there that should have been picked off, Joe.
Hey, look,
that's just the route on the table,
that's
too.
The playoffs.
Brought to you by Atco Pest Control.
But that's also the playoffs. When you face elite teams and elite defenses, it's not going to look pretty.
No, it's not. He did not look great in that game, but he made the winning throws that he needed to. I would contend that the play that he made to Kittle was probably the game winner, but that was more Kittle making an amazing catch than it was Purdy. Purdy had to make the throw, but Kittle able to contort his body and make that catch was pretty damn unbelievable, too.
Well, and regarding size of former players versus current players.
Real quick, on that, they're the exact same height and weight, Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts. If I told you that, would you that's what it's listed anyways?
That's surprising.
That's very surprising to me because I look at Jalen, he's like a physical. You look at his thighs, the guy's huge, and
he also squats like 700
and he's able. That's why he gets all those QB sneaks, and they can push. And by the way, did they change that? By the way, I knew that was in a rules committee.
Oh, I don't know.
The QB sneaks where you can push the quarterback. We'll get in on that.
But trust me, I've done my research on this, and go back and look at the average offensive lineman size of 1981 when the Niners won the Super Bowl, and then you go look at Trent Williams and Aaron Banks, and you tell me that they wouldn't look like absolute aliens standing next to some of those guys back there. I mean, Fred Dean against Eric Armstead, and Fred Dean is a Hall of Famer. Are
you kidding me? Look at Myles Garrett. You see that guy? You think he's going to go out there in the 90s and 80s and stuff like that, not dominate? Are you kidding me? We're getting a lot of calls and texts on this, 888-957-9570. Again, the Twitter poll question for you. If Kirk Cousins was the 49ers starting quarterback, would they be Super Bowl favorites over the Eagles? We're discussing that now. Joe Spadoni in for Bonta Hill. That's Joe Shasky. It's the Cross Jover extended, if you will, if you're a pre-gamer, like I know a lot of you are. Dave in Stockton wants to weigh in here. Dave, you're on 95.7 The Game. What's up, man?
What's up, fellas? So I just want to tell everybody, let's be realistic here. Nobody is discrediting Brock for what he's done or what he's worth to the team right now.
Exactly.
If you are discrediting him, you have no leg to stand on, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to Trey Lance, if you are discrediting Trey Lance, you have no leg to stand on. I don't even think Kyle can come out and say that he knows Trey is a bust. I don't think he can do that because we're talking about practice is the only thing we've seen him in, really. Now, when it comes to the game time, if Justin Fields and Josh Allen were given up on, like we think people are giving up on Trey Lance, what would have happened with them? Because they sure didn't look anything worth putting any money into in their first year. But my bottom line is nobody is discrediting Brock, and I think he's a great talent. But if we give up on Trey this early, we are basically saying, you know what, 3 picks are not worth waiting to see what you can actually do.
Well,
that's all I got.
No, it's a good
Thanks,
point.
Dave.
I
Appreciate
think
you.
this is my setting. Brock has proven he can play.
Yes.
He can play at an elite level.
He's a legit
for
NFL
a long
quarterback.
period of time.
Yes.
He can play. Can he stay durable and healthy throughout the time? That's we'll see. Time will tell. Stayed pretty damn healthy last year till the very end. Freak injury. I'm hoping he can come back from it. We'll see.
He's passed the most important test. He's an NFL quarterback. There's a lot of guys you can't say that about. Zach Wilson being one of them.
I don't think we've said anything about Trey this morning, but here's what I would say about Trey Lance. Football has a way, and sports have a way of giving people opportunities to prove whether they can or can't play.
The ball finds you.
And at some point, he'll have an opportunity to prove that he can play or can't play. Brock got an opportunity, and he balled the hell out.
He did. He ran with it. Shout out YouTube, shout out Twitch, shout out Xfinity mobile text line, and download the Odyssey app, 95.7 The Game. Thousands of other stations and millions of podcasts are free on the Odyssey app. Sports talk, music, news, and podcasts are all available completely free. You can probably find a Star Wars pod on there somewhere. We can talk Star Wars this week. The King's not here. He doesn't like his Star Wars and sci-fi talk. I like it. I also like this Niners talk. Again, I think Kirk Cousins, if he was quarterbacking the 49ers this season, they're Super Bowl favorites, and dare I say, I'd put $100 on them to win the Super Bowl. How about that, Joe Shasky? How about that? You know why? Because I know he's starting every single game.
I just don't know if they're.
I know he's going to produce at an elite level. I know that. In fantasy, he's going to be cooking. Am I right, Johnny boy? Johnny's giving me the thumbs up back there. Producer extraordinaire. What say you, Deli boy, on 95.7 The Game? What's up, buddy?
Hey, good morning, guys. How are we doing today?
What's up, Deli?
We're doing swell.
What's going on? What's going on?
Dude,
hey, let me just say this. I'm tired of this Kirk Cousins talk. That shit has stale. All right? I don't know why you guys keep bringing up his name. We have 3 quarterbacks right now that are ready to play. And right now, I don't care who gets us to the Super Bowl. I just want the Lombardi at the end of the year. I don't care if it's Trey. I hope he plays out. I hope that he can ball. Brock, I hope that he comes back healthy. Sam, I want to see what he can do. But really, I don't care. I just don't want to see Kirk Cousins. I'm sorry. That ship has sailed. I think we need to move on. I don't know why we're obsessed with him. I don't know why you guys keep talking and bringing him up.
Well, we brought him up. We brought him up, Deli Boy, real quick. You can stay on here. We brought him up because we're watching this doc on Netflix right now called Quarterback, and it follows the 3 lives of quarterbacks: Patrick Mahomes, Marcus Mariota, and Kirk Cousins. And the one thing I'll say about Kirk, he comes off very tough in this documentary. At least I think so.
You grow an appreciation for his toughness and his dedication to the game. That is undeniable. And he makes great throws in that.
And I will say, throughout his career, you can knock on a lot of shortcomings in the playoffs. He starts every game he plays in. Like, he plays in every single game, and he is there. He may have some injuries here and there, but he's going to play. I can't say that for a 49ers quarterback under Kyle Shanahan outside of that 1 year with Jimmy Garoppolo, and they made the Super Bowl.
Yes, I can hear you, but at the same time, we've been talking about Kirk Cousins for years now, and I just think that we're just so, I don't know, emotionally vested in him. It's kind of like when we finally get here, what about if he doesn't pan out? Then all this build-up that we had about him, now it's kind of like, what now? Nope. He was the guy that we were supposed to have, and all of a sudden he doesn't pan out. Look, we got 3 very good quarterbacks right now that are ready to play. I mean, we know that Brock can ball, right? I just hope his arm is healthy. Trey, we got to give him a chance. He didn't get a fair chance last year. We got to see it. And Sam, we know that he's a decent quarterback that can, do what he needs to do. But I'm sorry, but it's just I think it's just we're too emotionally invested in him.
I got it.
Good call.
Thanks, Deli Boy. Appreciate you chiming in there.